Well, welcome everybody to the Cascade Leadership Team Huddle. Tonight we're going to have a couple of great speakers. The first one is going to be Jacob Eisenzimmer, who's going to be speaking on Inspect What You Expect. And then we'll follow with world famous Bill Fisher on Becoming a Person of Interest. So with no further ado, Jacob, I am going to unmute you, and you are on.
Perfect. Well, thanks guys for taking some time out of your evening to get together. I hope you all know we just picked select leaders throughout the club to kind of help give some information to you guys and help it kind of disseminate down to the other people that we work with. I'm sure, as we all know, based on everyone's telling, we've been in the industry for a long time. We understand now we're in January, we're in the busy season. People are popping back up. People are coming to the club. The phones are ringing. I did a little checkup, and last year in January, we had about 28,000 check-ins just at Fisher's Landing alone. So if you kind of do some math, that's about 900 check-ins per day. And so, let's just say, for example, 2/3 of those people or 3/4 of those people use the locker rooms. That's between 600 to 800 people that are going to coming in through the locker rooms. We may do, 12 to 15 checks per day. So it really, highlights, puts a magnitude of 900 people, maybe 6 to 8 are going to come through the club and use those locker rooms. We're going to start noticing, some of the ghosts, people are going to start popping up, people you haven't seen them forever, people that used to be regulars but kind of fell off the wagon. So right now, it's really important that we connect those people back into the club. We let them know that they're welcome. We let them know that they're missed. Let them know that, we're still here. Let them know it's changed. And also put that same front and smile on for those new people that are going to join the gym or think that, Cascade is going to be better than the others. Because right now, being on the sales side, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to come into the club during January and February, because the locker rooms will be a mess, or the club's going to be too busy, or I can't find a parking space, or they try to come up with all of these excuses. So it's really our job when people come back in during this season to implement to them that we can handle it. We are ready. We are staffed. We will make sure that we maintain that same cleanliness in January that we have in April, when it's, for the most part, dead in the door now in comparison to January. So that kind of leads me to what we're really trying to focus on up at Fisher's Landing. As a team up there, is really to try to inspect what we expect. It's really important for us as leaders not to just tell people what and how to do it and just hope they get it, or just hope they accept what we say, but to really make sure that we are encouraging and enabling them to succeed for themselves, but also for the other people or the other members that they try to help. So I kind of broke it down into 4 steps. I think the first step is really to make sure that we show someone how it's done. Let's just take, for example, something really basic that hopefully 90% of our staff know how to do no matter what they do at the club, which is how to change new auto pay on file. To make sure that we sit down with that staff member, we show them how it's done and we do it for them. Then the next step would be to help them do it and enable them to do it, touch the computers, feel it, see the process of how it's done. And then to watch them do it with somebody, with the member, so they kind of get that a little bit of that pressure of being in the limelight, being in the pressure of how to communicate, making sure they grab the forms for them to sign, and making sure they're doing all the small details right, so that actually works for them when that member leaves their new credit card. But then in the fourth would be to enable them to teach someone else. Maybe, Jimmy's really good and you're confident that they know how to do it, but you now want to see, how they would train someone else. At the point, someone can teach someone else how to do it and do it accurately. At that point, we as leaders should be confident that Jimmy now knows how to do it properly, because he just showed 2 people perfectly on how to execute it through and through. So it's really important not only that they know how to do it, but we enable them to be able to teach others on how to do it accurately. I think it's important that we really try to assume that our employees are wanting to do things right, or that our members are wanting to do things right. And if someone's not doing it right, not just to assume that they're intentionally doing it wrong, or they're just trying to cut corners. And what that comes as, when someone does it right, say it's a locker room check, and you go through the locker rooms and they look spotless and they look fantastic, and you can tell that someone has just came through here, to really try to figure out who it was and seek them out and give them positive feedback. Hey, Doug, nice job. I noticed you just went through the locker rooms. Man, it looks fantastic. But when you do that when other people are there, so the other staff members see that Doug's getting public acknowledgement for doing a great job in the locker room. and that it's being noticed. And, when myself or other leaders at the club walk through that, they are noticing and taking the time out of it to commend those achievements. It's also important too that we really focus on communicating with all of our staff on a regular basis on like a positive note, so that we're just having those casual conversations of checking in, seeing what their favorite sports teams, how their weekends are, how their family's doing, so that when there's times where we have to give them a little bit of tutelage or re-education, that it's not necessarily perceived as, man, the only time that Jake wants to talk to me is when he wants to tell me something I'm doing wrong. Or, anytime, I hear from so-and-so, it's because I'm doing it wrong. But if you have that conversation where 90% of your information or conversation with them is positive and uplifting, then when you have to, add a few things in here that may not be, perfect or something that they can work on a little better, it's just more of a natural form of conversation. And they're not going to take it necessarily personally, but understand like, hey, you know what, like Doug talks to me all the time. I know he thinks what's best for me, and he really wants me to help, and educate myself, but also others on how to do this accurately. Sometimes it's important for people to understand why we as Cascade want to do things a certain way. We all kind of think like, I think back in the day, you used to be told, hey, this is what you do, and we don't ask why. You just kind of put your head down and you do it. But now we're kind of in this time where we all want to kind of understand why. So making sure that we take the time to give them that information, feed that need if that's what they need. I think one of the biggest things is, like an example is like parking for our staff. We ask our staff to park in the, back of the parking lot, as far away from the front door. New staff might not understand the reason why we do that. For someone like myself, I'm there at the club for 8 hours and I'm parked in that premium spot. My truck's not moving. It's going to be there for 8 hours. But in that same spot, say the average person works out for 45 to 60 minutes. That's you could put 8 to 12 cars that could accommodate that one spot. Now, say you multiply that to 10 or 15 or 20 people that work throughout the day, that's 100, 150 spots that we've opened up for other members to utilize that are close to the front door when the weather's real bad. Being open to feedback, I think, is really important for myself and for all of us to be aware of. There may be new staff, or there may be people that have been at the club for a long term, and it's really important that all these voices are heard. And it's just not just, this is the way we do it because that's the way they say it. It's that this is the way we've done it because that's the way that it's been, we've proven over time that that's the most efficient model. Maybe it's not the most efficient model and we can change it up, but it's really important for them to know that they're being heard and understood. So that's kind of what I've got for tonight. Again, just to recap for them, show them how it's done, help them do it, watch them do it on the scene, and then watch them teach someone else on how to do it. Guys, we're running into January. I think it's really important that we make sure our staff understand that we're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people checking into the club, and making sure we focus on those small details so that our members understand what makes Cascade so amazing. So with that, I'm going to turn you over to the world famous, legendary Bill Fisher, who again is going to kind of discuss becoming a person of interest.
Fantastic. Okay, Billy, it's all you
guys. Okay, thank you, Doug. Thanks, Jake. That was great stuff. I would reiterate that thank you so much for taking some time out of your night to do this. This group was formed back in October when we had our first leadership summit, which I thought went really, really well. And the secret to success in any kind of speaking is either go first or last. So I'm glad I get to go last, and Jake got to go first because basically we'll both be remembered that way. So what I'd like to talk to this group about is about being, well, I hope we all agree on the fact that we all really need a coach. And this group was formed on that basis, that we need to coach each other, that we need to coach those that are new to our team, those that are new to our club, whether it's members, employees, but everybody needs a coach. And I think everybody does better with a coach. And that can be a Group X instructor, that could be a personal trainer, that could be a shift manager, whoever that coach is. We want to get people with those coaches. And then they come in many forms. And this group is kind of the key to making that happen. So, coaches, what do we do as coaches? We affirm and we validate a person's worth. And Jacob hit a lot of things on how we do that. I love the idea about conversations in front of other people. I think that's a fabulous tip, and that's certainly a quality of a good coach. Zig Ziglar said, you can't sell the cookware until you have the cookware, until you buy the cookware. Well, I hope this group kind of always bought into the fact that we all have Cascade cookware, and so we all understand the importance of mentoring and helping anybody that's new or anybody that's lost along the way. So that's kind of the gist behind being a coach. And we're really leaning on you guys to reach out to the areas that you affect on a daily basis to coach those folks that are a little bit behind or a little lost or just need maybe just a little pick-me-up. So I kind of refer to this book. This is called Person of Interest by Michael Burt. I would highly recommend anybody purchasing this. It's a really quick read. It's really thin. So we had Coach Burt speak at a seminar we went to here in November. But what do we need from you? That would be a question you might be asking from us. What do we need from you as a coach? We need your passion. We cannot possibly get enough passion disseminated between all three clubs, between all 190 plus employees, without you guys on the ground with the bootstraps on, giving that passion. The other thing we need is we need your skills. You're part of this group because you have the skills, you've already proven it. And then I think the third thing we need from you is the knowledge, whether it's the knowledge that you already have or the knowledge that you're bringing on board or the knowledge that you're always acquiring. So those three things are key components as you go in to this mind frame of being a person of interest. And then with that, you need to coach passion, skills, knowledge. All of those things kind of come together at any place in the facility. It's not just the welcome center. It's not just the fitness floor. It's in the kids club. It's in the group X rooms. It's in any other areas. It could be literally in the locker room as well. It's all going on all the time. So I think that we all agree that people do business with people they align with, that they believe the same kind of things. And so we're hoping that you've already kind of bought into what we think are important in our beliefs. And some of those things, you might hear this phrase a little bit more as we move into January, but we think and we believe that you can change your life through fitness. You'll hear me say that a lot in the next probably 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. But I do believe that we all believe that. We wouldn't work for an organization that preaches that, but we truly can change lives through fitness. And we can change lives through coaching. And that comes again in all those forums. And I think that this group can really spread the message of we can change lives with
Hey, Bill, we lost you there.
Or how do we make it magical? You guys hold the answers in that as much as I do, as much as Doug or Scott or Jake or anybody in the club. So we really need to kind of come together, kind of have that Disney mentality on, we're really a greatness factory. I loved when Coach Burt said that. We manufacture greatness in people. We affirm and validate people all the time. And this is not just our customers, but specifically this group, really we put you in play to affect the people that you work with or the people that come in 2 hours a week or 10 hours a week. So we just can't possibly do it as one person or one manager. It truly takes a leadership team. If you've ever watched the fish video, they talk about being world famous. And that's kind of where this person of interest kind of gains some ground. So world famous, what does that mean? That means that you are to be admired or that you are to be known or that you are to be attractive. And that doesn't really have anything to do with your looks. It is on how you attract people. How do you attract good employees? How do you attract good instructors? How do you attract good trainers? All those things come into play. And certainly we want to attract the good people out there that want to come join us on a day-to-day basis. So those are the kind of things when we talk about attracting versus chasing. A lot of business books will tell you, you got to go out there, you got to chase the business. You got to go get them. Well, what happens when people are chased? What do you think happens? They run, right? So I don't know if you've ever caught somebody 15 months after you've been chasing them and realized that you really didn't want to catch them in the first place. So that's an important thing. We want to attract the right people. You want good people saying good things about you and good things about the facility and about the club. So, so again, on that attract versus chase, I would say that we want to build a business so attractive that people call us, that people come to us, that people consider us to be a must-have versus a nice-to-have. We want to be on the cutting block, or we don't want to be on the cutting block when things get tough or they get tight, people lose their jobs for a while. We hope that we're important enough in their life that we are a must-have, not a nice-to-have. So that takes the whole team. That takes our leaders, coaching our frontline people, and also just engaging our members along the way. So one of the things that Coach Burt said that I really, really think that this group could really, learn from is that some of us have been a secret agent for way too long. And we need you out there. We need you get you out there and leading. We can't sell a secret. We got to be loud. We got to be the ones that are out there telling people what's going on in the club. It's kind of our explanation of services. That'll be a key component moving forward. So we also need a good follow-up system. So I'm really hoping that this group can kind of come together and improve our follow-up system if we're lacking in areas with each other or certain departments or just members in general, making sure that we have a good follow-up system. So explaining our services, good follow-up system, and then obviously we want to attract the right kind of referrals, the right kind of great people talking great things about us. We don't want lousy people telling lousy people how great we are. That just doesn't really work in the equation. So I think the biggest thing that I want to make sure that you guys understand that becoming famous or being a person of interest really comes from action. It's not about standing around. It's about getting involved with the people, ground, frontline people, making sure that people know you more than you know them. That's called being known. That's called being renowned. That's called being celebrated. So we need to be a part of that celebration, just like Jacob had mentioned earlier. So that's a big part of being a person of interest is celebrating those victories that we find on a day-to-day basis. I think the biggest thing that we need to make sure that we all agree on is that we are in the transformation business. And what does that really mean? That means we found people one way and then they left hopefully better than when we first found them. So transforming them into regular members, regular exercisers, regular, complimenters, even the ones that complain. We want to know what's going on. So making sure that we are in the transformation business is a part of this leadership group. So one more thing I wanted to go over. Sorry with my notes. But one of the things that I think that is really important as we move forward into January is we need to make sure that our desire to help people has to be greater than your desire to be comfortable. In this group, I'm really testing, I'm pushing, or challenging this group to really focus on being in that helping mode versus trying to be comfortable. This is not the time of year to be comfortable. Get out there. Talk to your people. Jacob had some great ideas on how you have some general conversations with the people that are on your shift or in your general vicinity. Make sure you know a little bit about them. Make sure the only time you're talking to them is not to reprimand or not to correct. It's got to be a mixture of a lot of things. So I guess the biggest thing on why we think it's important to be a person of interest, we think that the greater respected and known you become, the more people turn to you, the more people you get the ability and the privilege to transform the thoughts and the energy into something really positive and really cool. And we kind of equate that to influence. So we want this group to really be a power of influence, be a person of interest, get out there, make it happen. Again, thanks for being part of tonight's little Zoom. And some of you, it's your first time on, so welcome aboard.
Wow. Well, hey, Bill, Jacob, I got to compliment both of you guys. You guys covered 30 minutes worth of content in about 20 minutes. So that is fantastic. You guys both covered a load there. And if you guys have any notes that you want me to put on the Facebook group, we can attach those as well. If anybody wants to look back, we recorded this, and then we'll put it on the site as well. So anyway, anything else for you, Jacob, before we conclude for the night?
No, I just think it's time to buckle down, and I think we've all had kind of the slow November, December, and been kind of waiting for it to pick up around here. And I really think it's going to hit here starting on Monday, because everyone likes to start things on Monday. So let's get along for the ride and make sure that we don't look like we're getting overwhelmed with the staff. Let them know that we flourish off this and we're excited, and get them excited for it.
Fantastic. Well, great. Well, thank you, both of you. Thank you, everybody, for being on tonight. We'll let you know when we're having another one of these. I think coming up next month is what we're planning. And with that, no further ado, then we'll say good night, and thank you for joining us.
Peace.
Peace.